everyone. Welcome to another segment of our in-depth series. I'm Jerry Miller, and joining us in this segment, ISU cross-country coach Nate Houle. Coach, it is great to see you.
Yeah, it feels like a long time since we did this last.
Yeah, no kidding. What's that on your face?
Just growing up a little bit. So in the pandemic life, right?
The Corona growth. There you go. So cross-country, talk about what you've been through the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster as it has for everybody, but we're usually very busy with 3 seasons all year, the distance runners are. And so this is number 2 for us right now, where we're not competing. And so for us, we get a little restless, and we're excited to race, but now we just need to find an opportunity to do that. So yeah, so outdoor being canceled was a big deal. They went in the summertime, excited with the prospect of doing cross country in the fall. And then obviously recently that didn't get authorized to happen. So we got canceled or at least postponed. And here we are training, but kind of aimlessly. And so it's been difficult, mostly for the athletes. I feel for them and I feel for their situation. It's not one that you ever probably dreamed of being in at this point as a collegiate athlete. And, we're just trying to do our best to give them opportunities here within the team, within the program to keep them active, keep them engaged, and keep them interested and motivated. So I feel like we're having some success on that and we're having fun with it. And so we're kind of just waiting and seeing when we can do this next.
As a coach looking at his athletes, what kind of struggles do you see your kids facing and how they're dealing?
Sure. The life of a distance runner involves all summer busting your butt, doing mileage like crazy when no one's watching, right? It's that whole adage where, what are you going to do when no one's looking over your shoulder? Well, I'm not allowed to coach them in the summer, and so it's on them. I got kids running 100, 115, 120 miles a week, doing it on their own. And, with the number of scholarships that track and cross country are allowed by the NCAA to have, most of these kids have to have jobs because they can't afford to go to school. Otherwise we don't do full rides, right? So they're all working all summer. They're doing 100 miles a week on their own, no one watching in the blazing hot summer. And they're putting the work in. And then they show up at 7 a.m., 6 a.m. for practice this fall. And all of this is without a competition season. So they're very, very dedicated. I hope that speaks to their level of motivation. And it's great to see it from a coach's standpoint, but then you feel for them too, because they put that kind of effort into something that just falls apart. Now for the second time, your heart goes out to them a little bit and you feel for them. But it's also equally as inspiring to see that we're getting after it regardless. So their love of the sport, I think, is pure. And, it's not about fans and it's not about crowds. They do it because it makes them better people. And they push themselves every day to do it. And like I said, they may not even be able to compete for a while and they're still getting after it early in the morning. So, yeah, it's really cool to see.
As you look at your runners that are coming back, can you look back at things that you do as a coach and see the positive results of those happening now? And if so, what are some of those?
I would like to think so. I think, we work with just great people to start with. So you kind of have fertile soil to begin with, which makes you look good as a coach, which is always nice. But, they're great kids, they're great people. Like I said, they just work hard. What we as a whole staff, we try and preach is, listen, this is sport. This is supposed to be kind of an analog for life where we use this to then, learn life lessons, because you're going to leave here and graduate and hopefully take these lessons with you. And so we just try and preach a lot of things as far as respect to, your teammates, support of your teammates, but also, are you bettering yourself on a daily basis? Are you doing things that, you're acquiring skills that are permanent? And, the whole, can you wake up at 6 a.m. and go beat yourself up, all for the hope of a season in the future. And so those are skills that a lot of people don't acquire at this age, that I think they are developing very, very well. And, we preach that stuff and it seems like, maybe this is the proof that it's all working, right? Is they're doing a great job staying motivated. And it's encouraging from our standpoint as coaches to be like, hey, these guys they're great. They're great kids. Maybe calling them kids is an understatement. They're very much adults. They got their stuff and they get it done. So
Without a competitive season in place, what are you allowed to do as a head coach?
Yeah, it's kind of right now, and we're kind of waiting more. Waiting more guidance on care activities and hours of practice that we can do, because technically we'd be in season right now, and we're kind of not, and so we're kind of waiting for the guidance to come through as far as the practice is allowed, what it's allowed to be. But for now, we're treating it as normal as possible. What I've tried to do on our side with cross country is, it's rare for us, and this is maybe one of those lessons we try and teach them. It's rare for us to have a whole chunk of the season where we don't have structured competition. And so we can look at that as a huge depressant, right? We can be really sad about it, or we can think, okay, well, this is one of the very few times, if not hopefully the only time, that we ever have this much time where we're fit, we're together as a team, but we can chase things that are maybe unorthodox to what we normally do. And so I've sat down one-on-one with every one of our athletes, and we've decided, all right, what goals, what do you want to chase? What do you want to accomplish in the meantime, while we're kind of sitting around? And so we've put some goals on paper for every one of them, some of them 2 or 3 goals, where we're setting it up and the team's kind of fighting for each other. And so we're going to have kids lining up to do a mile on the track, and we're going to see how good we can do that in the fall, and we'll have people pace them, right? Or I've got a couple of kids who want to do a full marathon, which we don't get up to those distances in college. And so this is always seen as a post-collegiate thing, right? But now we got a little time and they're fit. They have athletic training staff, which they won't have after college, right? They have these resources. So I'm like, hey, if that's what you want to do, we'll have a marathon set up. We'll set it up on the road, and we'll have their teammates pace them and kind of come in and out to help pace them to their goals. And so it's all a big collective goal chasing season for us. And so it's kind of fun, and they seem to be, enjoying it and buying into the idea. And so twisting this into a positive by saying, hey, we have unique opportunities now is, I think, helpful, and it's keeping them, going in the mornings when they come out bright and early. So
When I talk to Coach Free, who's the tennis coach, he talks about his athletes having the opportunity to compete against each other, even though they don't have a fall season.
Yep.
Do you have intra-squad competition?
Yeah, a little bit. I've tried to develop some things that are fun. Like last week, we've never done this before, but last week I decided, hey, I don't know if you've ever driven up the Chinese Peak Road, the dirt road that goes to the top of Chinese Peak. We've never really utilized that from a training standpoint before. And I thought, hey, we have to follow all these social distancing guidelines. We can't be, distance runners like to pack up and run together, which we can't do that unless we have masks on. And so they'll warm up in masks and everything when they're running easily. But we decided, hey, this will work good. We can set up kind of like you see in the Tour de France, where they have a time trial where guys launch every 30 seconds or whatever. They go out and they just race the clock, basically. And so last week we had our first edition of the Chinese Peak Hill Climb time trials. And so we went there. I set them in an order, which we had a random number. We had a little like draft almost thing where, they picked a number and the order was set. And then every 15 seconds, we launched a runner, up the mountain. And then I drove to the top, got the final times. And it was a fun little thing. And we're going to do it 2 or 3 times this fall. They want to chase their own bests, but also race each other and race the clock. And it's cool because the Molly Olson and D'Artagnan Kilgore were the top on each side. And they both beat the fastest ever time up the mountain by anybody anywhere. And so, we had another opportunity that we normally don't have to chase some of these records, if you will, of some of the local mountain climbs and stuff. So kind of fun to see, but yeah, they get to race each other, but it's all friendly, and half of it is racing the clock as well. So, and we'll do it again a couple of times this fall, which will be fun.
So this is something that you haven't done before. Do you have a special name for it?
Right now it's just Chinese Peak time trial. So it's just a hill climb. So maybe we'll have to come up with something catchy. I don't know if you got any ideas, but we're going to come up with something, because I told him already, I'm like, listen, I like this. We're sticking around. Next year we're doing it again. I like this. So, you better get used to it. So this is one of the things we're going to probably take from this and kind of implement permanently. So it's been fun.
Well, I know at the University of Montana, they have that big mountain behind the football stadium,
Up
and
to the gym, right?
the football players run that trail.
Yeah.
That's a
Their cross team
conditioning
does it.
thing for them.
Yeah, that's a good hill climb. Yeah, that's a good hill climb.
Have you made that climb?
I haven't. I've only been on their camp. They hosted outdoor last year, or the last time we had it, I guess, in 2019. And so I've never actually been up there, and I haven't been up in Missoula that often. So I did notice that, and I actually was looking up some records for that hill because it looked like a good trail. And to be honest, there's been some pro trail runners that have attacked that, so it's pretty stout. It's a good record. So.
Steve mentioned to me the cut down race. Is that the same as your Chinese Peak run?
Yeah, it's another. We've actually done that since I've been here. So this is the 6th time we've done that. It's what I use because, like I said, I'm not really allowed to know how summer training goes. I'm not allowed to check in. I'm not really allowed to make them do anything all summer. And so it's very much on their own, like I said. And so I don't technically know what they've done all summer. And distance running, you can't just show up and fake it. So it for me is the first day of practice usually of the fall semester. It's the first, we report usually a week early, and we go out to the track, and it's kind of it is what the name is, I guess, where there's prescribed paces. Every 2 laps, the pace increases. And it just goes down for 16 laps. At every 2 laps, it gets faster and faster. And then the final 2 laps, if you can make it to that point, are as fast as you can go. And if you can't match the pace, you get pulled. And I keep records on how many laps everybody's achieved since I've been here. And so it's a good way for me to compare at the start of the season. Okay, how did summer go? Who are we working with? Especially some of the new people, they come in as freshmen. I have no idea how they'll line up in our roster. And so it's a good way for me to kind of shake out who's who and who's done what. And people maybe leave in track is one thing, and they come back, have a great summer, and they're a completely different athlete. And it's great when that happens, obviously. And there's usually some surprises every year for that. And so this year we still did it. It was a little modified for COVID, so we had to space everybody out. But we had 3 women finish, which we've only had 2 ever finish before. We had 3 this year finish. And we had never had a male finisher before until this year. And so we had our very first male finisher this year. So it was really good, actually, considering. So they came in fit, and, we had a new men's record, and we had 3 women finish. So it's kind of a bummer we don't have a season because we're looking pretty good.
You're a hard taskmaster, Coach.
I know. They love me.
I
tell
know they
myself.
do. I know you have crossover with track and field and cross country with some athletes. And what do you see in terms of reaction, enthusiasm as they look at what's happening at Davis Field?
Oh yeah, it's kind of it's been a running joke because I recruited a lot of them on the premise that they'll have a new track to run on. And some of the seniors are like, "Hey Nate, where's that track you promised us?" I'm like, "Hey, it's a work in progress, but here we have it, and it's actually happening." And outside the context of the pandemic, it's a huge boost to these kids. I mean, it's going to be one of the best facilities in the whole Western United States. It's going to be fantastic. A lot of work obviously been put into this. It's been decades in the making. So in and of itself, in a vacuum, it's hugely motivational. And then you interject the whole fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic where it seems like everything's getting canceled or shut down, and their seasons are getting eliminated. And, we're just happy to be on campus at this point. Having something moving forward that's so important to them, I guess, and so big I think it's just one of those things that a lot of people, even without being on the team, I think people outside in the community see it as, look, Idaho State is still moving forward despite what the whole country's going and the whole world's going through. We still have progress being made here. I think that's highly encouraging, and for our athletes specifically, they can't wait to get on it. It's just they're chomping at the bit. They want to test it out. Right now we're kind of displaced, bouncing around the city, trying to find places to run, and having it right next here to Davis is going to be a huge perk for them. So yeah, they're really excited.
What is the status of your cross country course?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of the same as it's been. We've been looking at potentially modifying that slightly, turning it into something a little bit more approachable for other visiting teams and things. It's considered a really hard course, which makes it difficult for us to get people to come on and run on it, which I think is kind of silly, but
Hmm.
that's up to them to decide that. I don't think it's actually that hard, but it's a cool course. We're one of the only schools that have an on-campus cross-country course. It's like purpose-built, and so we want to go after it and improve it a little bit. We're looking at maybe redesigning the loop slightly to make it better for the athletes, but also more spectator friendly, because you can't really see the bottom half of the course from the pavilion. And so we're looking at maybe modifying that slightly, increasing just the surrounding area and making it a little bit better for spectators and fans alike. And, just making it a little bit more hospitable for visiting teams and athletes. So that's the hope. It's kind of on pause right now with everything. Especially with the track going in, that's kind of the main priority at the moment. So we're going to tackle that soon, I hope. And but it's very functional at the moment, so we definitely can use it. We were planning on hosting a meet this fall, but obviously that isn't happening. But we were definitely anticipating that for this fall. So.
Nate, for those fans that don't know, you come from a family of running coaches. You've got, I think, uncles that coach in Utah, Southern Utah, and other schools. Um, Again, some fans know when your family gets together, how much do you guys talk about what you do?
Yeah, it's funny because it seems like we're always so fried from running 3 seasons all year. It's the last thing we chat about. And then the family who doesn't do it all the time is like, "Hey, how's things going?" And we're like, "Yeah, well, let's talk about something else for a minute." And so, no, it's very much amicable. We definitely work together. We support each other's meets. We try and attend each other's meets to make them happen. And so we see each other actually quite a bit, especially in the fall season, because Southern Utah's in our conference, obviously, and then my other uncle's at Utah Valley, and so we see them. We go to their cross meet. We go to their outdoor meet. They'll come to our indoor meets. I'm still trying to work on him to get up to our cross meet. But when I got this job, he's like, "Nate, just so you know, I'm never coming to your cross meet. It's too hard." So I'm still working on him on that one. But Eric down at Southern Utah comes up with his kids. So yeah, it's a good relationship. It's actually nice to have. In the same region together where we can support each other's programs. It's actually pretty nice. So,
Nate Houle, cross-country coach at Idaho State University. It's always great to talk to you, and it's really good to see you. And
yeah,
best of luck this fall as you keep your kids engaged and getting ready for what we hope is a very successful spring season.
let's hope for the best. Yeah, absolutely. Great talking to you as always. And I prefer it in person, but this is, I guess, a better alternative at the moment. So great having you and having the opportunity to be on here with you.
Coach, thank you so much. Nate Houle, cross-country coach at Idaho State. That's it for another edition of In Depth with the Bengals.